get the flu, but generally I don't, but I always get this.
Did you get a shot?
Good evening and welcome to the Georgetown School Committee meeting of January 9th, 2014. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We're going to start the meeting off by our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Small crew today.
Okay, we'll begin the meeting by starting off with our consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda, which are approval of minutes, regular session of December 12th, 2013, safety minutes of December 12th, 2013, budget finance minutes of December 4th, 2013, and acceptance of warrants 25V14, 27V14, 26P14, and 28P14.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Good evening, Mary Beth.
Hi.
How's things?
Things are going well. So we had our wonderful 2-week break, which was, really great because those 2 days that we would have had anyway, we wouldn't have
That's
school,
right.
so it was good.
Somebody higher than us thought that
Right.
we should not have school after New Year's this year.
Right, thank goodness. So that was nice. We're all getting ready for midterms, which are coming up. I think they start the 20th, 21st, something like that. Yeah, so today the DECA students went to their districts, and that was very exciting. There were so many kids in the school doing DECA, so it was really exciting. I haven't heard any of the results yet. I know they all got back at 4:30, so I'll have to find out about that. The play is coming along. The play date is February 6th, 7th, and 8th, so you'll all have to be there. Better see you all.
Sure.
And Drama Fest play actually just had their first rehearsal today. So if you guys aren't familiar with Drama Fest, it's something that started last year that we've done. It's like a competition for plays, and that we all go to usually Ipswich High School and we compete. And then there's 3 plays that move on to state drama festival. So we did it last year, and we're doing it again this year. It's student written by Janelle Barrison and directed. It's going to be really fun. So we just had our first rehearsal. I just came from that. So
How'd we do last year?
we did well. We didn't. We won best student written play, but we didn't move on because it was our first year ever doing it. We didn't really know, but it was a lot of fun. Really fun. A lot of people made friends, and so it was great.
I never even heard of that.
I never
Yeah.
that sounds
Yeah,
great.
it's a really fun day because if you come and watch, you get to see 15 different plays over the course of the entire day, and then you get to see the awards ceremony, who wins, and they're individual actors win awards. It's really fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's like the Academy Award.
Yeah, kind of. Except you get to watch all the movies.
The Academy's all level, yes, excellent.
So that's kind of it.
And how's the sports going?
Sports are going well. I've heard a lot about wrestling. There's a lot of people wrestling this
Yes,
year. It's
yeah.
big. It's
Good.
kind of like golf and
Good.
wrestling kind of
Yes.
grew this year.
They did.
So that's good. Basketball, we had our Silent Night game, which is now an annual thing where the blue crew doesn't make any noise until the 10th basket that we make.
Oh, funny.
Except it didn't really go well this year because this was their first lose of the entire year, and they didn't make 10 until the third quarter. So it wasn't
that long?
Yeah, it wasn't that good. So, but it was still fun to have. And then once the blue crew exploded in
Yeah.
applause at the 10th, it kind of threw the other team off for a little bit. So that was good.
Oh, that's funny.
So they had their first lose, but they're still doing well.
That's like the NBA team, the Thunder. They don't sit down until they get their first basket.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
a neat idea.
I think the University of Colorado started it. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
some college started the Silent Night thing.
That's funny.
It was
Well, that's
fun.
good. I'm glad to hear they're doing well. And I heard the girls are doing well, too. I don't know what their record is. but
Yeah, I'm not sure either,
Good.
but all the basketball's doing well.
Good.
Yeah.
That's great. It was a long vacation, though.
It
It
was
was
so
tough
nice.
to get back into even waking
Yeah.
the kids up in
Yeah.
the morning. I was like, oh,
Yeah, Monday
It was
morning
long.
A block was rough. It was rough. Yeah.
we're glad to be back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak on a item that is not on the agenda? No, thank you. Okay, we're gonna move right along to administrative reports.
The only thing I would like to mention here, Barbie, before the holidays, Mike and Joe were chatting with me, and they had a question about the calendar. Because we usually, there is a clause in the contract that says if we wanna start before Labor Day, we should let the union know by January first. Obviously, we missed that deadline, and we miss it every year. For which the union is gracious enough to say, all right, you know, as long as it's not March, you know, we'll work with you on it. So I'm proposing that we make sure we put that on the agenda for the second meeting this month. Even if it's just the calendar for the starting and ending date. You know, if the committee wants to gather more information in advance of that or publicize that meeting, that's fine with me. We can certainly do that. We do have some information we gathered in June with the little survey we put up on the
Right.
website. You know, and just getting people to weigh in on whether or not they wanted to start before Labor Day. I think people find it challenging to go back and forth before and after, depending on where Labor Day falls. So,
So how would we notify the public that we're going to have this discussion at our next meeting? And
well,
invite
how would we
comment? What
notify
would
the
we-
public on that? Well, we could certainly put it on school websites, we could put it on the district website. Obviously, we're talking about it tonight. You know, I think,
Could it go in the announcements, like the middle and high
it
school
could go on the
announcements?
announcements, and, yep, and I don't know, Margaret, do you and? You do, and I think Donna does as well.
Yeah.
So we could certainly put it on
I
something
just think
like
that would be, just to, so that whatever we decide, when people come back to complain, we can point them to the effort we made to include them in the,
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
discussion.
And
to
we
Yeah.
can hear
weigh their
whoever
input, and whoever does turn up
has any.
with.
Well, that's why I'm
Thoughts
bringing
on
it
the
up,
matter.
because,
Yeah, I
you know,
think
that
that's
gives us
great. Thank you.
a
Karen.
short time, anyway, to let people know. And again, you know, I think if the conversation can't be decided till, you know, the first meeting in February, then that's so be it, but, you know, if it can be decided next meeting, it'd be great,
That would be
because then
great,
we
sure.
can, then we can kinda move forward on that.
Sure, that'd be
And
great.
then the union, you know, I'd certainly let Joe or Mike speak for the union, but, what they basically reflected to me is that their sense from the folks in the union, while it will never be 100% agreement, is that they would prefer to start before Labor Day
Before.
and get out earlier in June.
Okay.
But certainly, you know, if you'd like them to be prepared to come to the next meeting and speak on that topic, you know, I certainly could ask them to do that.
And that was also what 70% of the parents who took the survey.
It was, yeah, it was a, you know,
Wanted.
I'd say it wasn't a hugely representative sample.
Right.
But
those who
70%
did
of those that
Do
did,
you remember how many did return?
you know, Rob, I don't know off the top of my head, but I will definitely have that information for you for next time. I'd be guessing honestly, and, yeah, I'd rather be accurate on it. So anyway, I just mentioned that because I do think we should,
Can we get that before the meeting?
the information on
Yeah,
how many people?
Yeah.
Oh,
just
yeah,
so
absolutely.
That might,
We could certainly
Yeah.
send that out.
Okay.
Laura, we have that information handy, right?
Yeah, it was in an old packet. I can
Yeah.
print it out.
thank you.
Sure, okay, but that was it for me.
Okay, school reports.
We didn't have any school
Okay,
reports.
so the maintenance report.
Mike couldn't be here because half his family is sick as well.
Oh,
I would say a good part of his work and his department's work last quarter was spent at the Pembroke School and
Yes,
dealing with mitigation of the soil
Mhm.
and putting up the fencing, and most recently, over the school vacation week, they cleaned that school top to bottom inside. Every filter, I went around with Mike at the end and made sure every single thing was washed, dusted, and vacuumed, and Mike had sent out an email to the staff at Pembroke asking if there were any concerns, and he got congratulations, they did a great job, and thank you so much for working so hard, so he was pleased
Do we
with that.
want to reconsider getting rid of that building?
we're a little far down that road right now.
I can't believe you said that.
He's continuing to track, as you can see, the 806 requests at the top, utilizing the school dude web-based maintenance system. He's really has a lot of great information, which is going to be so important as part of maintaining Pembroke when it opens. It was one of the biggest things that MSBA wanted us to do as a district, was to have a way to track the maintenance and make sure that we're going to be able to take care of that building. So it's really eye-opening when you look at all the things that our little maintenance department gets done
Right.
without going to outside contractors. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. I just had a question on the removal of the playground equipment. So when it says that a consulting firm came in, do we call a consulting firm, or is it something like that's done like every 24 months, or?
But I think by the regulations, we're supposed to have it inspected every
We
year.
have to get it inspected.
We reached out to Maya because in places I've worked in the past, the insurance company would provide it, but Mike didn't get much luck, so he ended up hiring somebody that did it as a consultant to make sure it was safe. You know, Mike knows the regulations regarding how much, how deep the mulch has to be and
Right.
whatever, but we had a couple of incidents on the playground equipment, and I said, you know what, you're better off. We should have it done at the end of every summer and make sure that playground equipment is safe, so.
And what's it, a minimal fee?
Oh, a couple $100. Yeah, and then you have a consultant, who's registered to sign off that, that we've done our due diligence to make sure the equipment's safe.
So they go to both
That's good.
schools?
Yep.
And then the preschool, I would assume, is done separately from them?
No, we
We
do
this
all,
preschool too?
every piece of playground equipment we
Hmm.
have.
That's the only question I had on that. Does anyone have any questions on that? No, they're doing a great job, very good.
Did you wanna talk about this, or do you still have other things under yours?
Why, we can put that under financial, I guess.
Okay.
Is
Does
that where we're going
anyone,
now?
Yeah.
does anyone have any questions about the superintendent's information for the committee, the newsletters or anything? Nope. I still love reading the Pembroke newsletters and the Gazette and everything, it's
Yeah,
cute.
the kid stuff is fun.
Okay, so the financial report.
So the first thing you have is to approve the transfers, and, we're getting down there. We don't have many transfers this quarter, and I actually hadn't brought transfers to you since October, so I think,
That's very good.
we did a much better job budgeting and making sure our money was in the right place. These are kind of salaries changed, or we didn't fill a position, and those types of things, or we filled it in a different way, or went to a grant, so it's just kind of straightening out our books so that after these transfers are made, you'll see a lot of less negative numbers in your quarterly financial report. So it's trying to balance out the reports.
Okay, good. Can I give you that?
Sure.
I should have given it to
I
Mom.
have to sign it too.
Okay, moving right along to old business, the,
You have to
The-
vote on that.
oh, I do?
Yeah, transfers.
Oh, you guys are usually so good about putting that on
Oh,
here for
dear.
me.
So we'll just,
That's okay.
so if we just do, what is it, transfers
Yeah, you got
64 to
68?
86.
It's on both sides.
64 to 86.
And then the total.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve line item
Transfers.
transfers, numbers 64 through 86 in the amount of $71,931.80.
So moved.
Second?
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
The next is the financial report. If you go to the last page, it looks like we only have a balance of $29,000, I think it was $29,255 left. Again, we have not moved the special ed expenses to circuit breaker yet. And the reason, I had originally asked Julie to start charging to circuit breaker. She hates to do that, because if she does, then she has to keep doing adjusting warrants at the end. When we do have money in the budget, she has to reverse everything she did, and we really don't want to tap into all of our circuit breaker if we don't have to. But on the other side of that is I put in place a budget freeze. I don't know when, I probably could look at the principals
while
and
ago.
find out.
It's a while.
October maybe,
Yeah.
late October. Because Donna Straight still has some pending possible placements. So, you know, we only have, what shows us as $309,000 in the red in the tuitions. And you'll see right above that, 72,000 in the special ed operating, which in large part is a large consultant contract. You can see in the middle part, contracted services in the negative by 73,000. So again, when principals need something, they send it down. You know, I don't think I've said no, maybe once or twice, to say, can you just wait, can we get another resource for it? But if they need it, they've been able to buy it, but it's just not a flurry of just let's buy everything we need right now. And if you know, April 1st comes, and that's the deadline for the special ed, you know, out-of-district placements, then, you know, we'll be able to free up their money and they can purchase what they need. But again, they have, whenever they need something, they ask, and I've been approving them.
That's good. So when you say it's a freeze, it's not necessarily, it's on a per.
Well, I think they do scrutiny, you know, at their own buildings before they send it down, and when there's a real need, if somebody, you know, needs something like if you needed to have, anything for your MCAS testing or anything like that, I got a couple the other day from one of the schools, and of course you have to
Or
approve it.
paper.
Well, paper, yeah, I
mean,
always
yeah.
approve the paper, but,
Well, I remember a couple of years ago, it was like the cartridges, the printer
Oh, yeah.
cartridges, they weren't even,
Mhm.
like October, that's early.
You know, just some challenges, especially that we didn't anticipate,
Yeah.
and we really felt like we had a real handle on it.
right. I did, get notice of another, I don't know how much money it will be this year, but another pothole reserve grant, the foundation reserve money, so, it was for any extraordinary expenses. So there was an extraordinary expense, in special ed that we're gonna try to hit. And Donna was giving me the information for that, to apply for that. We have to apply by the end of the month. So again, if that comes in and that takes some, heat off of us in the special ed account, then that frees up money for the schools to begin, you know, spending again.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Mhm.
Yeah, unfortunately. Can I add it here about Gail?
Yeah.
Can I add it here? Did anybody have any questions? I'm sorry. Did you have questions? So we're beginning to start getting the first of the invoices for the Gale Associates for the design of the turf fields. And I reached out to the town hall because I, at first, had thought we would process them like we process any of our bills. We had built we did the ramp at the high school, whatever, and all we had to do was have Mike Anderson sign off that the work had been done, and then it went to CPA and then to the Board of Selectmen for approval. Well, they feel this time, because this project is very large, that they wanted the school committee, and it is a school committee project, and you did sign as a school committee, accept their contract, that they want the school committee to vote to approve the invoices, and then I'll send them over to CPA to be paid through the Board of Selectmen. So I have their first invoice here. I made copies for everybody, but it's in a total of $14,226.02.
Are you looking for approval tonight?
Well, as soon as we can get it, we can start paying. The invoice is dated December 13th.
And is this within the range of what we
Well,
anticipated? Does this?
If you look,
We have the-
if you look, they break it down by the total contract. And so far, they're charging us the 100% complete on the site investigation survey and 20% complete on the schematic design.
I would, from what I've seen, I'm very comfortable with that.
Right, that's what I
They're
agree.
further ahead than that, actually.
Yeah.
I think they're further ahead than that too, Rob, I
Yes.
agree.
So, and I had sent, Rob had asked for a copy of the contract, so I did send it to him via email. And I didn't have a chance to make all of you copies, but I can send it via email, so you could have something to refer to with their signed contract.
Is the contract that I got any different from the one that might have been?
No, that, you know, and you asked about the legal sign-off on it,
Yeah.
and I put the question to Mike Farrell, because that came from the legal approval,
That's
so
right.
I don't know why that line is on there. That's the one that was approved.
That was the one, so they don't sign it?
I don't know, I don't know.
Who doesn't sign it?
The legal
Town
counsel.
council? I mean,
There's a
I
line
don't,
for
I
that.
don't think they do, I
There's
think it's signed by the parties that are making the agreement.
Well, that's what Mike Farrell told me, and that's what I did, but then when Rob brought it to my attention, there's a signature line for legal counsel approval, but,
No one's
so
on
I'm waiting for an
Oh,
answer for that.
Okay. Well, when we put contracts together, we get legal advice on it. The legal people don't sign those contracts. They
There's a
prepare
line
them.
right on the
I know that.
document.
I know, that's so strange.
So,
Okay, well, we'll get the answer to that for you, Rob.
Do you guys have any questions on this?
No, it looks,
No.
there's no surprises to anybody
There's
who's
no
read.
surprises on this.
Yeah.
They're very professional, I have to say.
Does site investigation include soil sampling?
Well,
Sorry.
there's
if
the
it-
opportunity to have soil sampling. What they're doing
it
is.
wouldn't be part of their contract, though.
No.
Their original contract.
Right, that they're
Okay.
doing, their original contract does not, it does call for them to do some test borings,
Okay,
which they're doing.
okay.
Basically what Lindsay, Barbie, who is the lead, engineer on the project, they're going to secure soil as a result of that process, in case we determine that we would wanna get a testing company to look at it.
Okay.
She's willing to get an estimate as to, you know, what a testing company might charge for that, but we may want to discuss it with the people we're dealing with as part of the Pembroke project, so. But there's the opportunity, there will be soil samples available that can be utilized for that purpose, should we wish to do it.
At what point do we need to make that decision?
Well, I would say we probably need to make that decision, probably at the next meeting, I would think. We're gonna be meeting with Lindsay coming up on the 20th, I think. And I
Is
can
that
direct
confirmed?
that
'Cause
question.
yeah, Laura's
Well,
saying no.
she's trying, Lindsay wanted to make the meeting for that date.
I know, that's the holiday.
Oh, it's Martin Luther King, right.
And I didn't see any responses going back and forth saying that that date was good for anybody. Did you?
I don't know.
haven't
I
seen-
responded, but, okay, so,
I responded too before I knew that it was the 8th, that it was the holiday.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I think, you know,
when's the
obviously
next school
she's
committee meeting?
interested in getting a meeting sooner than later because they have a more, you know, another version of the design.
23rd.
And some decisions have to be made in terms of what's gonna make it into the ultimate design.
Right.
The GAA is obviously doing some figuring on their end, you know, because there's still a question of exactly what's the turf gonna cost.
Well, the next
But-
school committee meeting's on the 23rd. If
It's
we,
on the 23rd, so. Yeah.
the borings were
Let
done
me,
on
let
the,
me ask her.
they were done on the 30th, correct?
But,
December
yeah,
3rd.
but in terms of the soil piece,
Testing, right.
yeah. I'll ask her. I'll ask Lindsay about that, when we would need to make that decision if we were going to do it to not interfere with the forward progress
Right.
that they've got going with the timeline.
When you talk with her, could you remind her to copy me on the communications emails? Cause I don't think I'm in that loop, and she and I went over it once before.
Okay. Okay, great.
So we're gonna go ahead and approve this invoice, if anyone has any questions about it?
That'd be good.
Okay, so the chair will entertain a motion to approve Gale Associates invoice number 1311375 in the amount of $14,226.02.
So moved. Second.
Okay, no discussion, any, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, so now old business.
Do you have any did you wanna do the subcommittee reports, Barbie?
Do
or
that
you wanna-
first?
Or do you wanna skip? I don't care, it's fine.
I know, do we have
I
any?
don't think we
Well,
have much.
The, well, the turf committee did meet since the last
Right,
school committee meeting. So, we wanna talk about that, things are moving along. I think the amount was a little different than what we had first anticipated. So, we're going to, the GAA has been wonderful in terms of, you know, trying to figure out what they can cover, like even more so than what they've already, agreed to. And then we're also trying to figure out what things within the project we could possibly hold off on doing,
Mhm.
and maybe do it at a later time.
Mhm.
But Gail is great to work with,
Mhm.
and GA, of course, has been great.
Mhm.
Do you have anything to add, cause you were at the meeting?
No, I think that was pretty much it. What I took away from that meeting was that they were going to come back with sort of a list of items and their costs, and you end up with how much money you have to spend and where do you wanna spend it, and making that decision.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, the GAA definitely, their interest is in the turf itself and the lights.
Right.
And so there's, just a lot of different kinds of discussion, but one, they're basically about $200,000, $200 to $250,000 over budget, basically. Which is, as Rob said, is prompting, the designer to go back and say, all right, here's kind of a prioritized list. So you're gonna get what you say you really want, and then here are a couple things that maybe you don't do it right now, you can do it in the future, maybe you don't do it at all. I mean, it could come down to, there's scheduled to be 6 lights. You can do 4, light the area that'll be used mostly, which is the football field. Put the fittings in for the lights by the baseball field, because you play baseball mostly in the summer, and you have light till about 8:30. So if you were pushed, to say, well, what if we did this first, and then in another round, either private fundraising, donation, whatever,
Right.
we put the other lights in. Those are the kinds of decisions that are needing to be made at this point in time.
That makes sense.
And I think,
Porta potties versus bathrooms.
Right, well, at this point,
Oh,
it's
it's
not,
illegal.
it's up in the air whether
Yeah.
or not, there may not be stands, there may
Okay.
not be bleachers. I mean, the original plans were gorgeous, and it definitely called for a nice seating, we're all in agreement, you need seating.
Right.
But the question is, again, is
Maybe in a
that
couple
is
of
that a
years,
round 2
maybe.
thing, if you put the, what do you call them, the
the
footings
footings,
or whatever in place, so that you.
for the stands.
For the stands.
Right.
So it may need to take a little bit longer of you, but the goal is to get that field up and running in the summer, so that we, especially in light of what's happening at the Pembroke Fields, and those not being online.
Especially, yes.
Only speaking for myself, I think one of the challenges as a school committee member in voting on this will be those items, that list that we pick from, and making sure that items aren't put off into the future that are necessary for the project, and that we don't know for sure that we can do it in the future. That'll be a difficult decision.
How did this happen? I mean, how did it seem that we had enough money to do this and
No,
now we
no,
don't?
we
No, it's
never,
their-
we
it's
never,
their
their
estimate.
original estimate
Was
was,
low.
this was a $2 million,
Right.
$2.1 million project.
Right.
They then, moved it down to something in the $1.7 million,
Okay.
and then they thought they could get it down to 1.5. And then basically they got 1.25. So that's what I'm telling you, the $200,000 to $250,000 is the gap. But they really needed 1.7 to really do the field with all the necessary bells and whistles, that are, and I don't mean bells and whistles like it's opulent by any means, but
Yeah,
to
it's
do
not.
the project
Sure,
the way that we'd
yeah.
all agree, this is what we want it to be.
Correct me if I'm
Basic
wrong, the
expectations.
250 was what the original estimate they thought it was going to be, but the money that ended up coming through CPC
Was
was
less.
less by 250.
Right,
And
right,
that was the delta.
that's the delta,
Oh.
Yeah, we asked for that amount,
yeah,
or
that's
they
the
asked for
delta,
that amount.
yeah.
and
I
they
see.
did
So,
that.
so the question is, I mean, I don't know, maybe there's a way, another round, if there's something specific, like, okay, and that's why I was trying to maybe encourage, John, in my latest conversation with him, and he thought it had some merit about this issue of these lights. Because, then maybe it's easier for people to approve something that is tangible, okay? So there's this beautiful field, you've got these lights, there's one area of the field that's not lit. this would be a good way to use the money to finish off that project. That's something people can wrap their arms around, as opposed to, now we need this money to just do something more with the field project. So I think that's, some of that is just marketing it and positioning it in such a way that
Explaining it
you can explain it
to
clearly to
people.
people,
Mhm.
what the value add is and why it's necessary.
I'm glad you brought up that point, though. That was the difference.
Yeah.
But I do feel confident that the project is
Oh, it's
gonna,
gonna be
like,
great.
it's not gonna be, you know,
Oh, it's-
they're directing us in the way that it will still be a manageable, you know, a usable field,
It
beautiful,
would be beautiful.
and we'll just have to possibly wait for some things to make it complete. You know, so.
Mhm.
Good. Did anybody else meet since the last meeting? Has any other committees met?
No. We had the holidays.
No, I just, for the Budget and Finance Committee, not that we have met, but at the last meeting, we did come up with a budget timeline. Are we still on track for Carol and Joan presenting the overview of the proposed FY 15 operating budget draft on the 23rd?
I am.
Okay.
I haven't seen Carol much, but I am.
No, I think
'Cause
we're,
that- it's-
no, I think we'll be fine with that.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
we've got, Joan's got almost all the staffing stuff, you know, figured out. And, you know, obviously we're working with Donna Straight on the special ed.
Mhm.
And then the
Right.
principals are completing their budgets, and, almost all are in, not quite everybody's
Yeah,
got
good.
theirs in, but it'll
I'm
be
not
in
worried.
shortly.
Okay, so
And,
we're
we should be fine.
right on track.
I think because last year was more difficult, but now we just have
It's the
we're
same
just using
format.
the same format.
Mhm.
So it's just plugging in the numbers. It's pretty simple.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Old business.
Okay, so we, the Crest, contract, Kim Olivera was very excited that, you know, we had approved it, and, but then there was apparently, Pam, maybe you can help me with this, there was
Yes.
just a simple phrase.
It's a simple phrase, it's called a supermajority.
Yes, what,
I
where
was
is it
wondering
though?
what that meant, page 8.
Page
Was
8.
in the borrowing loans and mortgages was what the
Okay.
note said.
Yes.
Right, and, you know, Kim felt in my conversation with her that it, you know, it really wasn't that significant of a change, that we could have
No,
gone with,
it's
we could have gone with the committee's vote, but, you know, anytime after you do something changes in the contract, I'm a fan of, let's just bring it back and make sure everybody knows. So you know, I think it would be good for you to just,
Inform
yeah,
people.
just to inform people.
I did speak with Kim Olivera because I was a little unsure of what a supermajority
Right.
vote meant. And it generally means it's more than a simple majority, but different governmental bodies have different definitions
Yes.
of what it is.
Yes.
And so I asked her, in this particular case, it means one more than a simple
Yeah.
majority. So it's just one more vote, which in this case would be 9 votes to determine, she said,
Out of, how many are on
well, what, that,
the word?
17.
I don't know, 17.
17.
Yeah,
Okay.
of those present. So it's a simple, so it's one more than a
That
simple
simple
majority
majority.
of those present
Okay,
to approve mortgage and loans and borrowing and loans and mortgages types of decisions.
Okay.
Types of motions.
so we're just suggesting that you
Yeah.
take another vote with the changes to the contract as amended.
Did we need to take another vote?
I don't know that you do, but I don't think it hurts to.
Okay, I know we needed to explain that.
We do need to explain.
Yeah.
Okay, so the chair will entertain a motion to approve the revised Crest Articles of Agreement as presented.
So,
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then the last one is, the appointment to the Whittier School Committee, and Joanne Testaverde, who you met, recently when she came with the superintendent, has expressed interest in being reappointed. We didn't have any other competition. And, you know, Joanne has definitely shown her deep commitment and interest in this, and I do urge you to support this appointment and approve that.
I was very impressed with her. She seems like a terrific.
She's very not, you
Good
know,
job.
she knows that committee work
Yeah.
inside and out.
Yes.
So the chair will entertain a motion to appoint Joanne Testaverde as the Whittier School Committee Representative from March 31st, 2014 through March 30th, 2017, as presented.
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Could we really be done?
We could really be done.
Oh my gosh.
Could we be setting a record?
Yeah, no, that's great.
We could really be done.
I think that we're good, unless
As long
anybody.
as we're covering all the issues at hand.
Okay, so the school committee meeting is adjourned at 7:40. Good night,
Wow.
everybody.
Everybody, my daughter is gonna be doing cartwheels
Yeah,
when I
that's a
walk in the
treat.
door.